Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we're jumping straight into the tutorial by making a slip knot first. And if you want to know how to make a slip knot, be sure to check out my other crochet videos linked in the eye on top of the screen right now. So after making the slip knot, we are going to make some chains. So the chains you're going to make should be long enough to go around your entire waist. So go ahead and make as many chains as you want, and the chains should, like I said, go around your entire waist, and make sure you're comfortable with that. So after you're done making the chains, what you're going to do next is to straighten out the entire chain. So make sure everything is either facing forward. So you're going to go ahead into the first chain you made, like so, and slip stitch like that. Yes. So if you also want to know how to make a slip stitch, be sure to check out my other crochet beginner videos so you know how to make a slip stitch. So now you have a circle, and then we are going to begin the pattern. So for this pattern, for the beginning, we are going to chain 3 to represent a double crochet, and then we are going to chain an extra 1, so that will be 4 chains. And what we are going to do next is to put 1 double crochet into that same space where we had the chain 4. So you make your double crochet, and then we are now going to determine how loose or how tight we want our pattern to be. So for me, I chose 4 chains, so I'm going to chain 4 and then count 4 on the initial chain, and then skip over to the 5th chain and then put a double crochet there. So I'm going to put 1 double crochet into that 5th chain, and then I'm going to chain 1 and then put another double crochet into that same space. So that is the pattern we are going to be working with for this tutorial. You make 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, all in the same space. Then you're going to chain 4, skip over to the 5th stitch, and then continue with your 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, then you chain 4, skip over to the 5th stitch, and that is the pattern we are going to be working with. So this pattern is really adjustable, and you can customize it and put as many chains as you want or as little chains as you want in the middle. So instead of the chain 4, for example, you can make it a chain 2 or chain 8 or chain 5. So that's what it's supposed to look like on the screen. And we have the V stitch. So the V stitch is the 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet that we made. That actually forms what we call a V stitch in crochet. So I've put the pattern on the screen right now, and you can just adjust it to your liking. I'm going to go ahead and make a few more around the circle, and I will come back with a progress report. I've made a few more, and this is what your project should be looking like right about now. It looks a bit funny, but as you continue making more and more rows, it is going to start looking like a skirt. I'll meet you when we are almost at the end of the circle. So at my end, I had 5 chains left, so I chained 5. And then I'm going to put a slip stitch into the chain 3 that we made. I'm going to put it into the 3rd chain. that represents the first double crochet. So I'm going to put a slip stitch. I'm going to slip stitch into the third chain and close off the circle wall, sorry, so that there's no bump or anything and it looks like a V-stitch. So we are going to continue with the same pattern for the next row. We are going to chain 3 to represent a double crochet plus a chain 1, so 4 chains in total, and then we'll put a double crochet in that same space like so, and we are going to go ahead and chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we are going to put 1 double crochet into the V-stitch of the previous row. So 1 double crochet, then we'll chain 1, and then we'll add 1 more double crochet to create another V-stitch. So this is what your work should be looking like right now. So I'm going to go ahead and make a few rows till I get to the end. And don't forget that when you get to the end, you are going to chain 5 instead of 4, because that part is an odd number. So you chain 5, and as usual you're going to slip stitch into the third chain from the chain 4 from the previous row, or the chain 3, whichever one you want to call it. So find the third chain and slip stitch into that, so your work looks neat. So that is the pattern we are going to be working with for row 3 and row 4 also. So at the beginning of every row, you're going to chain 3 plus an additional 1, so that will be 4 chains. Then you're going to put a double crochet into that loop created by the V-stitch of the previous row, and then you're going to chain 4, then make a V-stitch into the previous V-stitch, then you chain 4, then make a V-stitch into the previous V-stitch. So that's the pattern we are going to be working with. So I'm going to make an additional 2 rows, so a total of 4 rows, and then I'll get back to you. So this is a progress report. Just to remind you that when you get to the last part, it's actually a chain 5, not a chain 4, so don't forget that. So you're going to chain, my hook came out, you're going to chain 5, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and oh, I'm struggling, and then you're going to slip stitch into the third chain. So count 1, 2, 3, and then put a slip stitch into the third chain and close it off nicely, and there you have it. So it gives you that seamless look, and it also looks like a V-stitch like the others. So I'm going to go ahead and continue making another row. So I'm going to make 4 rows in total, and I will get back to you at the end of that row, and we can start on the 5th row, which will be a row of increase for the hip area, so it widens out a bit if you have hips like me. And if you couldn't really concentrate on the pattern earlier, or you couldn't really see what I was doing, I brought the project a bit closer to the camera this time because I realized it was a bit far away. So now it's a bit closer. You can see what exactly I'm doing and which holes I'm going into directly, just to clear up any confusion. Now onto our 5th row. We are going to start off by making a double crochet, which is a chain 3 plus 1, so chain 4, and we're going to put 1 more double crochet into that same space. Sorry, I'm struggling a bit, like so. So we'll have 2 double crochets there. And what we are going to do next is a bit different from the previous row, because usually we chain 4, but then what we are going to do now is to chain 6, because we are trying to increase for the hip area. But you can do it according to your project. You can increase by 1, by 2, by 3. You can just increase gradually, or you can just make a big increase depending on your body type. So you're going to make 6 instead of 4 and just continue with the pattern as usual. And when we get to the chain 5 at the end, we are also going to add a chain 2 to it. So instead of 5, that is going to be a 7, but I will show you when we get there. So that is my chain 6. You realize it looks it's a bit looser than the chain 4. That's because we've modified it a bit. We've added 2 more chains, so it's now a chain 6. So just go around and make chain 6s instead of 2s, and we'll meet back when we get to the end. So like I mentioned earlier, when we get to the end, we are going to be chaining 7, and that's because we used to chain 5, but because we are adding 2, we are going to be chaining 7, and then we'll slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the first double crochet we made. So that's 7, and we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the 3rd one. 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch into that, and there you have it. So you realize it's beginning to stretch out a little, that it's opening up. So we're going to develop it a little and add probably 2 more rows, and we can start working on the slit. So this is what it looks like up close. The pattern is coming in beautifully. Yep. So you can increase according to how you like it, make it as long as you like it. Just make it according to what you like. So I actually made a mistake, and I wanted to show you guys how I fixed it. So it's supposed to be 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, but I made a mistake. So what I did was I made my V-stitch into the leg of the double crochet that is there. So I'm going to make my 1 double crochet, then I'll chain 1, then I'll put another double crochet into that same space, the same leg of the double crochet, because I really didn't have the heart to go back and unravel everything and fix the mistake. So yeah, so that is how I fixed my mistake. I mean, you would hardly even see it, so it's fine. So we are going to start making the slit here. So because that place is an odd number, it's a chain 7, we are going to put 1 double crochet into the odd number, which will be the number 4. So we can have 3 on this side, 3 on the other side. So we're going to go ahead and chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to put a double crochet into the 4th chain, which will equally divide the 2 parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. So we're going to put the double crochet into the 4th chain. So it creates a divide, so you have 3 here and then 3 there. So what we are going to do is to flip the work around, and then we are going to start our pattern again. So we're going to chain our double crochet, which is a chain 3 plus, and then we're going to add 1, and then we're going to add our double crochet, additional double crochet as usual, into the same space. Like so. It's a bit tight, but manage and go in, double crochet, So that's how we start the slit. So we're going to go around and then make one row. When we get to that middle part, I'll show you what to do. But don't forget that that part is actually a chain 3, because it was initially a chain of 7 and we divided that into half, and then we put a half double crochet in the middle. So once we've made our double crochet, our V-stitch, we're going to chain 3. So 1 2 3, and then we'll go about our pattern as usual. Don't forget, we are still on our row of increase, so we are still increasing by chaining 6 in the middle. Yep. So now we've made our V-stitch. Oof, my hook keeps coming out. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that row till I get to where the slit is supposed to be. So I'm at where the slit is supposed to be. So now I'm going to chain 3, 1 2 and 3. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into that tight space over there, like so. So you slip stitch into the bottom of the double crochet that's there, go into that space right there. It's a bit tight again, but pull it through. And then I'm going to flip the work around and start a new row by chaining 3 and then chaining 1 more to make it 4 chains, which represents a double crochet plus 1, and then we're going to put a double crochet, an additional double crochet into that same tight space we just came from. So go into that hole, pull it through and make your double crochet. Again, we are also, don't forget to chain 3, because the beginning of the slit is actually a chain 3, and I like to flip the work inside out so I can see the work more clearly. So as you can see, there's a bit of divide there. So this is what it currently looks like. It looks a bit funny, but after a few more rows, it really does come together. The skirt looks better. So we're going to continue with the pattern. We're going to chain 3, make a V-stitch, and then start your chain 6 and V-stitch. So I've made my way over to the beginning of the slit again. So because I want the slit to pull out more, to be more profound, what I'm going to do is to now chain 2 in place of the chain 3. So I'm going to chain 2, go into that V-stitch and then make a V-stitch, flip the work around and start chaining 2 instead of 3. So you make 2 chains, 1 2, and then go inside your V chain, which is a double crochet, chain 1 and a double crochet, chain 1 and add 1 more double crochet. So it's going to pull the slit apart, so it makes it more profound, like I said. So after that, you just flip your work around and then work all around, and when we get to the other starting of the slit, we're also going to chain 2 instead of 3, and I'm going to make a few more rows, and till I actually run out of yarn, because I have just a few more balls left. the slit is coming in nicely. When it's longer, you are going to see it is going to be more profound. So let's just go ahead and make a few more rows. We are going to start decreasing. We are going to go back to our original rows, which means that where we used to have the chain 6, we are going to go back to having chain 4 instead, but then we won't touch the slit part. The slit still remains a chain 2, but everywhere else remains a chain 4. I hope that's clear enough. Like I mentioned, we are going to decrease and chain 4 instead of 6. So go ahead and continue the pattern like that, or you can keep it at the chain 6. So I've made a few more rows. I don't know if you can see the slit over here. This is the slit. Like, it's a really nice pattern. So that is the skirt done. As you can see, I made a mini version of it. That's why, and I made it just short just for the sake of this tutorial. But I can go ahead and make it as long as you want, like this. I made this for myself, and this is what it looks like. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you guys in another video. Bye and take care.